little pony, my little pony.
Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Foally of Man. We're here to answer a rather simple question in a rather complex manner. What does Fallout Equestria, a fan fiction, look like to someone outside of the My Little Pony community?
That's me.
That's you.
I'm outside of the My Little Pony community.
To answer this question, we will have the two of us checking in and discussing each second chapter of the story.
Yeah, about every two chapters, I think.
Every two
is the
chapters.
plan. If I can get through it.
Yeah, to kind of walk through it and see what we think as it happens.
Right, and we should probably explain a little bit. So, you are...
My name is Chris. I'm a Brony. It hurts.
Hi, Chris! And I've been a recovering Brony for 3 years now. And I'm Robert, and I'm not a Brony.
You're very clearly not.
I mean...
You don't hate it, it's not something you've ever cared for.
Full disclosure, Chris and I have been friends for 17 years. And so, as a means of support, I've seen My Little Pony. I've seen some episodes, but again, yeah, I would not describe myself as an MLP.
You're just a guy who's seen it and you're like, I didn't care for it.
Yeah,
you're not in the oh my gosh it's great and it's the cancer of the world.
I don't understand it, but I also don't condemn it.
Yeah,
but I certainly won't condone it. Okay,
No.
Let's put that to its credit. However, I should give some background. I am not unfamiliar to fan fictions. In fact, I'm a huge fan of like kind of Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah.
I hate the shipping crap that goes on. Like I ship Mojo Jojo with Princess Bubblegum and stuff like that. Or what if Luke and Leia got together and
you know why they call it a ship, don't you?
Why is that?
Because it's sunk by cannons. Okay,
that's too good. So I'm not unfamiliar to that, but I'm also very familiar with Fallout.
Yeah,
so
we're both avid fans of the Fallout series. Now, when it comes specifically to this story, you have no history with it. Zero history.
I know you have a huge history. You've invested a lot of time and money in this story.
I have. I actually have read the story multiple times, have various audiobook readings all over the place, actually invest time in the community, and have several books. Several. That they have actually printed off. So
I'm just waiting until you get a cutie mark.
I don't know what it would be.
Then we can celebrate your, what is it called, a cute-ceañera?
Cute-ceanera.
Jesus.
Probably explain to go through. We've decided to look up horse puns because what is the best part of this entire thing but horse puns?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll be peppering this throughout.
Okay.
I mean, some are pretty lazy. I mean, really lazy. Like a school pony. Come on. At least some pony makes sense. Like some body, some pony. Yeah.
Any pony.
Any pony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mares and gentle colts.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No, but anyways. So, moving on. So, chapters 1 and 2, which actually isn't just chapters 1 and 2, it includes prologue A, B, and C as well.
Mm-hmm.
Although those are just so very short. Kind of give you a background. So, maybe you should give a little background to the story.
Okay, so this starts out where you follow a small mare, female horse.
Yeah, that's not communicated.
Yeah, that was actually a point of a problem with the author even recognized is she said, I didn't actually communicate with that the main character was a female in like the first 5 chapters.
Well, and I've been listening to the audiobook because I don't have time to read that. This thing's longer than War and Peace. We need to point out this is
643,000 words, I believe.
It's a tome.
Yes, it is.
I think there's less words in the Bible. Anyway, so I've been listening to the audio version, and the audio version is very well done, I will say, particularly for fan-made. Most fan-made stuff is crap.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
I'm sorry if you've made fan-made crap, but I know fan-made crap, and there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah, I mean, don't stop doing whatever you're doing for whatever fan.
Unless you're writing Harry Potter erotica where Draco Malfoy's a power bottom. Then you need to stop.
Okay.
You really need to stop.
There are lines.
Yes, there are absolutely lines.
Would he be a power bottom for Hitler? I'm just saying the analogy there is so obvious and staring everyone in the face that he's supposed to be this Aryan. Anyway, going back to the story. But
anyways, I was going to say, as a point of contention, so the audiobook is done by a man.
Yep.
So it's a little misleading. However, there is some verbiage in the beginning about how she wouldn't go for that sort of a thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Which only makes sense if it's,
her mother explained it as her barn door doesn't swing that way.
That's right. Of course you'd know that line. But yeah, that's one little inkling. I was like, that doesn't make any sense if I'm a boy pony.
A colt. A filly is a little girl. Anyway. Yeah, there's so much tie into that.
All right. So, background. So it's a Fallout world.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it without giving away elements of the story because it's all revealed very well.
Then let's clop into.
Let's not do that. Let's not clop.
Why can't I say clop?
Because that is the phonetic analog of fap.
You do realize horses and ponies cannot touch their own genitals.
Yes. However, bronies can. And the art that bronies make can. So, be aware of that.
Will you or will you not disavow the bronies?
I won't.
Sorry. Had a little McCarthyism come over there me for a moment there. Are you now? Or have you ever been a member of the Clop Party?
Oh, God. Okay. So, going back.
So, it's Fallout. So, there's not Fallout shelters. There's
stables.
Stables, of course, because that's where ponies live in a stable. And it's not Vault Tech. It's
Stable Tech.
Stable Tech, of course.
Yeah. Everything. All the names are very analoged. Many of the objects are analoged. It'll go into a lot of that.
The story seems to be based more off of like Fallout 3 than it does to be.
Very, very heavily based off of Fallout 3. There are elements from 1, 2, and New Vegas in there, but you'll understand as you go through exactly what's going on and how they all blend together beautifully. If I dare say so myself.
Well, let's get into the meat of chapters 1 and 2. So we meet our protagonist. Do we know the name of our protagonist?
Little Pip. Yes, because...
Oh, that's right, because the Pip Boy cutie mark.
Yes, and she wanted it to be Pip. Actually, it's Little Pip Squeak. That's what her mother named her, but it's a rather humiliating thing, so...
The names are the thing. I've just got to be honest. It is so... The names, like, what's the love interest? Velvet Remedy. Velvet Remedy sounds like an oral sex aid.
Actually, I was thinking more of a preparation thing. Yeah. Preparation H kind of thing. Velvety smooth and it remedies.
Velvet Remedy goes down smooth.
Oh, boy.
Nay.
Based on what else happens in this book, you might avoid saying that in the future.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
No, there is no actual overt sex mentioned in the book.
So Little Pip is in the vault, and basically, like in so many fan fictions, a social outcast.
Of course.
Yeah. Kind of nerdy.
Yep.
Doesn't have a lot of friends. Yeah. Not a very good communicator.
No
real discernible
She
skills.
rolled a really low charisma rating.
I know,
You're going to find that out a lot.
However, Little Pip is a unicorn pony.
Yes.
Now, I didn't understand. So, you got to explain this to me. So, I know there's like ponies of the earth ponies. Those are ponies without the magic unicorn horn. And for those, so I have a feeling the main audience for this will be bronies. Hi, guys. And ladies. But I have a feeling that there may be some people, too, listening to this that have no idea what I'm talking about. So, the unicorn ponies have magical powers.
Yes. They all have an innate ability to use externalized magics. So they can cast fireballs, do all this. You'll find throughout the story it's not really... I think it's actually mentioned in the prologue or in the first chapter. The main character only knows telekinesis.
Right. Now, I guess what's interesting... I've seen some ponies that have wings.
Yes, Pegasi.
So there's 3 classes.
There are 3 races.
Okay.
Yes, there are races.
And, so there's earth ponies.
Mm-hmm.
There's unicorn ponies.
Yep.
What's the name? Are they just unicorn?
Yeah, it's
ponies?
It's unicorns, earth ponies, and Pegasi. No real special name for
and
earth ponies.
No crossover with the unicorn Pegasi.
That is actually a divine thing. You'll hear about the Princess Celestia and Princess Luna. That's from the television show, because this does branch from the show.
I'm familiar with those characters.
Yeah, the term is alicorn. I think it's actually a Greek word.
They're like godly because they can fly and have the magical powers.
Yeah, how it works is people have kind of figured this out on their own rather than the show telling them, is that the Earth ponies actually did have a special power in that they are far more hardy and far more physically strong, stamina, endurance than the others.
Like Applejack.
Well, I mean, they can pull a train by themselves.
God damn it, why do I know that?
I have no idea. Why do you?
Because you forced me to watch these things.
You love the puns, don't lie.
Well, I do like puns. In fact, I hit you with a couple of good ones the other day.
Oh, yes.
What was it, the one that I got you with that you liked so much? Oh, shoot. Well, anyways, I'll keep talking. Maybe you can look it up or it'll come to you, because it was a pretty good one. But anyways, so we have the Earth ponies, we have the unicorns,
mm-hmm.
And there's already very clearly a division.
Oh yeah, I mean, in this story you're going to actually see that there is a heavy racist kind of focus on the different classes. They're very separated, and you'll understand why. There actually is. There is a very heavy separation between two of them and another one specifically. All of it's going to be revealed, but yeah, you'll actually see more of this racist undertone between the different races of the ponies.
Right. Here's the deal. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's an interesting story,
mm-hmm.
and I find myself enjoying seeing the direction of it, because let's face it, it's the Fallout universe. The names are all fucked up. But it's the Fallout universe.
Effectively, yes.
No, it is. I mean,
yeah.
Just everything about it screams Fallout. It's
yeah.
just space office. So I enjoyed that. But what I don't necessarily appreciate is I at this point I'm having a hard time seeing what the induction of My Little Pony does to benefit that universe, or why this. Like, in my mind, this is just a really good Fallout story.
Yeah.
Like it's mostly well written, and it's interesting. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of tropey, but the thing in my mind is that it's just a good Fallout story.
Oh yeah.
And so, to its credit, there is that. I will say one thing though: it is incredibly dark.
Oh yeah, it's
incredibly dark. There's no mistaking that.
I think if you enjoy dark, this is actually a downhill ride, and that it gets worse.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, and let's face it. So you and I've had many discussions about Fallout over the years, and one of the things that the games touch on, but they never really get into, is that this is a really fucked up place.
Yeah,
it is literally hell on earth. It's like Doom. You know, it shouldn't be easy to survive. And anybody who is surviving in that environment has got to be harsh and severe.
Oh, yeah. It really is an environment which benefits cruelty, which benefits harsh attitudes, strict doctrines, and wild and crazy ideologies. And trust me, the story will go into those. Each and every single one, and you'll start seeing exactly how well painted it becomes. As for how well, like the necessity of the ponies, they aren't really necessary. It builds directly onto established lore of the show, directly, right. Which does.
I guess that's the thing, is that I don't know the pony side of things,
but It's been a question many a time whether or not it's required, which is one of the reasons I'm really excited to do this, is because as we go through, we can kind of see if it does require an understanding of My Little Pony to actually enjoy or comprehend what's happening.
Well, I'm interested to see where it goes, and I'm interested to see what it's like as we progress further along. But it only time will tell.
Yeah.
I mean, only time will tell.
The first two chapters, there's no way to really... Your feet aren't even wet yet. You're just getting your shoes off.
I'm not turned off by it, but again, it's hard to... it'll take some convincing for me to understand. Like I said, it's a good Fallout story. thus far. Now, I know that since there are unicorns that can manipulate things with their minds, they seem to be able to do much more fine motor skill stuff.
Yes.
Whereas the earth ponies have to manipulate things with their mouths for the most part. You know, like a real horse would. And there are elements in the story, for instance, there's it's not the raider, it's the slaver who has a knife in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And they're communicating with a knife in their mouth. And so, of course, they're saying, you know, needing to be translated.
A little comic relief there.
Right. Well, yeah, in a very dark situation when you're all bound and shackled. I was kind of surprised there was kind of a jump gap between, oh no, here, look at these bad guys, and now I'm in shackles.
That's actually, it's weird. That's one of my least favorite parts of the entire story is the events in Chapter 2, because it is rushed. It is very, it's
condensed.
It is very condensed. That entire sequence, it wouldn't benefit it to be stretched out, because all it would have done was just padded it.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a really lose-lose situation. I want to remember they don't really do that at all later.
Yeah.
They do it. She does spend a lot of more time developing.
My question for you is, I want to understand more about the I know we're talking about a series specifically here in this crossover, but what I'm most interested in is, what does My Little Pony mean to you? I mean, what's the most important thing? What's the appeal?
Well, the original appeal to me was that you had this really cool story where you had all these different people who kind of represented certain character traits, certain personality aspects of people, like the good and the bad of each person. Like you knew these people, not because you've met them specifically, but because they exhibited traits of people you've known.
Right.
And so what you were seeing is each of their grandiose desires and fears, and the entire story was supposed to be, and I'm following verbatim the actual first story arc from the first season, is that they would inevitably realize that their ultimate dreams were not achievable. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't enjoy each other's time as friends, and they couldn't enjoy themselves. It didn't mean that they couldn't be happy. They just had to realize that happiness was something you found within yourself, not found through position or power or other things.
What do you think the zeitgeist that created the space where this innocuous 80s children's cartoon that has zero relation to what is being produced now?
Yeah.
I mean, other than just some names and some appearances, zero connection. Because the kind of craft that you're talking about just didn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like you said, it was originally made to sell toys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As far as that, it came from the mind of, as most of you already know, this came from the mind of Lauren Faust, who worked on as character designer for Powerpuff Girls. She was one of the, I think that she was actually the director of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So she's had a hand in all this. She's married to, I think, Genndy Tartakovsky.
So she is married to Genndy?
I think it's Genndy. I could be very wrong. wrong.
I mean, that wouldn't be surprising just because he developed all of those shows. He was the producer of all those. I mean, basically produced all of our childhood cartoons.
No, it isn't Genndy Tartakovsky. It's the other guy. It's the guy who actually directed Powerpuff Girls.
I think that was.
But they're all friends. They are all related. Like, they're not directly related, but they are all friends from, like, college. They all know each other.
Gotcha.
And so it's interesting. It's a world developed on you and I's actual childhood TV shows.
Right.
And it's done in a very mature way.
So what it sounds like to me is that it speaks to maybe some potential arrested development for millennials. It's made by the same people who made the cartoons of our childhood, and it is a more adult version of it, yet it is still primarily made for children.
Yeah, I could definitely see that where it's a certain generation. It's a generationally focused.
But it's, well, as you mentioned before, it's innocent.
Oh yes,
it's happy. It's focused on positivity, and I think that most certainly appeals to people of our particular age, in our age range. You grow up in a world of negativity and protection, the safe harbor, and so to reach out and to have something that's kind of
fantasy. It's a fantasy, is what it is.
Yeah, innocent, vacuous. I mean, vacuous isn't fair because I haven't watched enough of it to say that, but it's. I mean, I would imagine there are life lessons that are taught. Oh
yeah, no. The thing is, an important tell for this, and this is one of the reasons I've grown apart from it. Lauren Faust actually left the show because Hasbro didn't like. Well, she and Hasbro had creative differences as to where the show was going to go. She wanted to continue with the show as it was, and Hasbro wanted to sell toys, which meant that you were going to inevitably have to create these circumstances that are ridiculous. To, for instance, one of the episodes, they all go Super Saiyan. I'm not kidding. They do. They get the gigantic hair. They float in the sky. They're all super quick, and they don these weird power armor stuff, which is BS. All it was literally to sell a new toy.
Well, remember, friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic, and you know what's even more magic than friendship? The greatest dollar bill is what it is. Because that's the reason I've fallen apart from it is most of it's just turned to predictable story arcs, awful cliches, and ham-fisted character personalities, which are nothing more than justifications for plot, and not that kind of plot. But anyway, going back to the story at hand. Is there any specific things that you thought actually worked? Anything that jumps out at you so far?
Well, as I've mentioned before, it's just realistic. So Little Pip gets her ass handed to her.
Yep.
I mean,
no self-insert Mary Sue here.
As you should. You lived underground in a protected society, and you weren't very good at making friends. So you're not suddenly going to be great. However, there's all this attitude and confidence that just doesn't make sense for the character. I mean, I get that, you start getting tested and tried, and, you get... I
want to say, there is a certain aspect of that which it bugs me, but I will say, in defense of it, to quote CinemaSins, the power of boners is stronger. In this case, Lady Boners, in that she's going after her love interest. And so she probably feels more empowered because she's got a bunch of adrenaline going through her, thinking, somewhere in the back of her mind, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get laid.
Sex between two female horses is basically impossible. I'm just going to say that.
And you're saying about unicorns and fine tactile control. That's the only thing I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to get creative.
Yeah.
Or very, very careful.
Lots of tools.
Yeah.
Lots of tools.
Yeah, there's lots of accessories involved in a lesbian pony relationship, if I'm honest.
Now, was there anything specifically that turned you off? Is there anything that you saw that you did not work?
Well, I touched on it a little bit. You have to, again, it's a magical story. You have to just suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Oh yeah.
There are some tropes in the story that are indicative of standard fan fiction. That it's not just this, but it's like, of course, it's the nerdy outcast. And of course, it's a lesbian relationship. And I don't even have a problem with a lesbian relationship, but every fan fiction I read has gay relationships. It has to, because it's not in the regular story. All the relationships have to be it.
I will actually explain that to you. And this is my understanding of it. See, when the show first started, they accidentally didn't have any male characters. They're called... Well, they didn't have any
Colts.
Puppets, is what they're called. It's for the show. It's specifically the animation tools Flash that they were using. They didn't have any male puppets.
Rainbow Dash wasn't around yet.
Well, Rainbow Dash was there. This is still female. So I do lie. They actually did have them, but they didn't use them. So almost every single person, every single character on screen, background, foreground, anything, were all female. And so when you have people who are desperate to take two characters and make them smooch on each other for whatever reason, you're kind of restricted to your access, and so the whole everyone's a lesbian.
Right, but I guess you have to admit this is not just a My Little Pony.
Oh no. It is actually a very big thing.
I swear to God, I saw on DeviantArt years ago there is a shipping of Jack Skellington from A Nightmare Before Christmas with Boogie.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Ew.
Insects were involved. All I'm saying is that when the fanfic gets written,
what's wrong with you?
It's there's so much, but there's so, and I know there's Bronies on DeviantArt. We're having our fun, but it just tends to. It's like it's not counterculture enough. It's not. It's got to be this.
I think
the worst ones are Harry Potter. Harry Potter is full of that.
Doctor Who.
And I was just going to say, and Doctor Who is the next one. It's always a doctor fucking another doctor from a different generation. It's always.
I think one thing with that as well is, you know that old saying, if you don't like it, do it yourself?
Yeah.
I think it's enough people who are so frustrated, like, damn it, I want a cute lesbian or gay dude relationship in everything I watch, and so they actually went out and did it themselves.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Bravo. I mean, I much prefer it over people, shaking their fist and making it to where it has to be in everything without any other compromise.
And again, I should clarify, I don't have a problem with homosexual relationships. Not at all. It's just when it's over and over and over and over again.
Have you been to your friend's wedding? Didn't you have a wedding?
I've been to many gay weddings. They're great.
Yeah. Not gay at all.
I was going to say that's not the issue. It's not some kind of like intolerance issue. It's just I find it fascinating how prevalent it is. Whereas in modern society, 4% of the population is homosexual, but in fan fiction, it's almost like 90% of the relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it
speaks to how many of our disaffected and disenfranchised homosexual people are fans of creating a fantasy world where it's more prevalent.
True.
But we're getting off on a wild tangent.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but it makes sense. If you are somebody who is interested in, let's say you're a guy interested in another guy, you're going to be surrounded by guys who are not interested in that relationship. Right. And so you're going to want to create a world where that is more prevalent, so you would actually have options. Because
that's why you moved to South Beach.
Yeah. Or, the Keys if you're lesbian. But again, getting off topic. So, going through that, we went through the good, we went through the bad. I think we touched on the ugly a little bit, just from a general perspective. The trope heaviness. Otherwise, are there any other thoughts you had with these?
No, I'm interested to hear more, for sure.
Yeah.
And the quality level is there in the storytelling, other than not disclosing the sex specifically of the character.
Yeah, apparently, now I haven't noticed this, because I don't look for it, but apparently another thing that she had an issue with in her own writing was that she used a lot of ellipses in the first, I think she said the first quarter or the first half, so we'll just see whether or not, the way I read it and the way I read it.
I'm not picking up on that since I'm listening to an audio version of it.
True.
Well, I don't have much left to add for chapters 1 and 2.
It's a very interesting beginning. I mean, as a seasoned person with it, I actually dislike chapter 2 because of its rushedness.
Yeah, I will say there is one bit of writing that I do enjoy when little Pip comes out to the surface and stares at the sky for the first time. When a ceiling was no more than 4 feet away from your head your entire life, and you actually look at open, endless, seething sky above you, that it makes you sick.
I forgot about that. That actually was one of my favorite parts of the story, simply because it was something that I had never even thought of.
Right. I think that speaks to good writing.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I just wanted to make sure to add that. I think that was a nice little piece there.
Oh yeah.
I'm still not a brony.
You're fine.
Yeah. I feel like I need to make that clear. Well, if that's good for you, it's good for me. So, for Chris, I'm Robert, and you have listened to
The Foally of Man. God. Cheese master.